And welcome back, everybody. Erin Matt's our guest. We're talking about the United Way because she's the executive director of the United Way. She's been in that position since March. Lots of big things happening. And one of the things that was happening not too long ago, Erin, was, and we had an article in the Boonville Herald about this because there was a young man from Boonville that was involved with this and did well with this, and that was the Youth Cooking Challenge.
That's right. It was a fantastic event. I can't remember the date exactly of when it happened, but it was shortly after I started. I was so excited to see people in general just excited about the event, sharing it on Facebook, talking about ways to get youth involved and centered around healthy lifestyles. Really good fit for our organization. And I was just sharing that we actually were contacted by the Food Network recently. They took note of the event. They're holding a baking contest this summer and wanted to know if we could extend the invite to those kids locally, but just commented that it was a great event and they had seen it live, live streaming on Facebook.
Is that going to be something that's going to be done again?
Absolutely. We'd love for it to become an annual event.
And for those that don't know about the cooking challenge, give them a brief description of what that was all about.
Sure. So we had chefs from local restaurants who were donating their time, and they were paired up with youth applicants that came in. We had a number of different rounds of cook-offs, so if you've ever seen the show Chopped, for example, sort of mimicking that, but blown away by the skills of these kids in the kitchen. So they were really responsible for creating the meal plans and executing, actually cooking those meals with their chefs as their assistants. So it was great fun. The kids were really excited to be involved and raise money for a great cause.
You were talking about money. You were talking about money that's coming into our area, and it's called ESPRI?
That's right. The Empire State Poverty Reduction Initiative. That is one of Governor Cuomo's initiatives. And so there was a lump sum of money that was available to 16 cities in New York State. Utica was one of those cities. The United Way is the administrator of that grant. So it is a $1.5 million grant that is being used to fund a program that was actually dictated by the community. And so we are working with the city, with the mayor, with the county, lots of stakeholders involved there. And the initiative that the community chose was 24/7 childcare. So that is in the works right now. And again, Utica being identified as one of only 16 cities in New York State, it's really exciting for our area. And so you'll hear more about that in the coming weeks.
When you say 24/7 childcare, what does that mean?
So that means childcare that is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I can say with experience that being a working parent, one of the single biggest stressors in being able to get to work every day is making sure that you have reliable and affordable childcare. And that's something that is oftentimes a barrier when you have generally factors related to poverty. So taking away that barrier and ensuring that we can help the community get back to work, whether it's through educational programs or training programs, but have a safe place to take their kids. That's what that program is all about.
And you said the community's what drove that particular program?
Yeah, so we held a series of focus groups. Again, the program is specifically in Utica, in the city of Utica. The governor was most interested in getting this money to Utica because of our numbers around poverty, and we have so many people in need. And so we held a number of different focus groups where the community identified what they thought were the greatest needs, and childcare, 24/7 childcare, really was the lead.
What was behind that? Do you recall?
Workforce development, that was another, so creating a pipeline of employment opportunities. There were also kind of a mobile response unit type of vehicle that would be, again, in multiple locations in the community providing services. Those were two of the other projects that were highlighted.
When you say that, I'm reminded of the Salvation Army. Do you fund Salvation Army still?
We do, and I can't speak to the history of how long that has gone on or which exact programs, but I know that they've been on our list.
Because I know from working with them a little bit in past times, they had an idea for a mobile response kind of a vehicle that they could use at disaster scenes and at fires and things like that.
Sure.
Now that you've been on the job a little bit, are you thinking, boy, I'd like to get into this area, or I'd like to go here, or I'd like to do this?
That's a good question. You know, I think that right now United Way does so much good work in terms of you know, really funding programs that make an impact. So what I'm focused on most right now is making sure that we have all our ducks in a row in terms of kicking off our campaign in August. A lot of work needs to be done there. I'm also really focused on getting the word out and raising awareness of what United Way is all about and what we do. I think that there is room for improvement there in terms of reminding people.
How are you going to do that, Erin?
That's a great question. I come from a sales and marketing background. I think that there is value in driving awareness through messaging. So you will likely see marketing in front of you in the next kind of few months. You know, again, I think United Way is a heritage brand. Lots of people remember that brand and know the name, but they don't know exactly what we're doing in this area and how many people we're impacting and how we're doing that. So I think that's really important.
Any idea, I mean, I don't know how you could quantify this, but any idea how many people's lives that United Way touches in Oneida and Herkimer County?
Oh, that is a great question, and I wish I had that figure off the top of my head. My team is going to wring my neck for not having the number off the top of my head, but I don't want to misquote that.
Well, when you come back, you can
yeah,
get
that's
that
good.
number.
It'll give me a reason to come back.
Good, and I think the number's probably going to be pretty high. Yes.
It is. I mean, you know, looking at the poverty numbers in Utica, and then also, I mean, in Oneida and Herkimer County, you know, we're certainly facing, you know, really kind of dire circumstances. Rural poverty is also a harsh reality of the community that we live in. So yes, those numbers are absolutely growing. There are certainly kind of emerging issues that we're seeing that we are trying to help through the programs that we fund related to the opioid endemic. That is certainly something that is kind of high on our list of priorities to help our counties address.
Do anything with literacy programs?
So we have for many years, and yes, there are definitely programs that we fund right now that you know, that have after-school programs, that have reading programs in place. That is actually also sort of related to the Ready for Kindergarten program that we're running right now, because it's essentially making sure kids are prepared to learn, so that when we're testing literacy in third grade, those kids are ready.
I thought about literacy when you talked about the rural areas, because there's a lot of adults in those rural areas that have a literacy problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the many problems that they face related to poverty. Yeah.
When you come back with those numbers of how many people are impacted by United Way.
I will, thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming in. Thanks. That's going to do it for us this week. We'll be back next week. We'll do it all again. Don't forget cnyhomepage.com. Lots of good stuff there. And don't forget Hidden History every Monday night right here on the 6 o'clock news. That's it. Take care. See you next time.